Hello, welcome to Board Game Bonkers. I'm Jay Sears, and today we're going to take a look at my top 10 from Board Game Geeks 1001 to 3000. So let's get to battle, shall we? But before we do that, please do consider subscribing to the channel and giving a video a like if you enjoy it. Now, I'm not going to go into detail explain how the games play. I'm just going to give you my thoughts, what I like, what I don't like about the games, and give you my score, and I'm going to get it up on the screen. But bear in mind, please, just because I give something a 6 or a 6.5, doesn't mean I think it's a bad game. To me, that's just above average and not too far shy of being a good game. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy it and have it in my collection. All these games, apart from one I think now I've got rid of, I have in my collection. So let's get to battle, shall we? Starting with my number 10, and this is Sunset Over Water, which I gave a 6 out of 10. And I think I've changed my scoring recently to 6.5 because I quite enjoy this game. It's quite a relaxing game. So you've got these cards laid out. Essentially, that's the landscape you're going to be painting. And what you're doing is you'll be placing your painter out there, but it depends on the card you've played. So what will happen is you'll be drawing two cards at the start of the round, you'll be looking at one of them, and on those cards is the initiative, the time of when you go. So do you go before your opponents? And then you've got how many spaces you can move and how many paintings you can collect. But you've got to be careful because you might think, well, hang on a minute, I want all these paintings. I've also got to bear in mind my opponent might get there before me. And also got these objective cards, and they change each round. So you're looking at objectives and you're trying to get those objectives to give you more points. It's essentially trying to paint those landscapes, get the paintings and sell the paintings for commission, which essentially is points. And you're trying to get more than your opponents. I think it plays better with higher play count. I love the artwork. I think it's stunning. It looks beautiful. It's a very relaxing game. And as you're playing through this game, you'll notice that with the cards you draw at the start of your round, you're looking at both and going, actually, I need to go first, but I can only pick up one painting, but I really need that painting. Because if my opponent gets it, I can't get my set to then sell, or I can't meet the objective. I really like that. There's a bit of decision making in this and crunchiness, but also there can be a little bit of luck. But I think that's good, and I think they've done a great job of only introducing a little bit of luck and mostly tactics and a bit of strategy. So I really do enjoy that, and that artwork's stunning. It just feels so I was going to say relaxing again, lovely in terms of the pace of it and across that balance between the crunchiness and that relaxation. So I still think they've got that crunchiness there, but the balance is there, and I think they've done a great job of that, which is why I've got it in my collection. It's a small compact game. I think they've done a really fantastic job of this. Let's move in to my number 9 then. And this is Glasgow. It's a 2-player only game, and this uses a Mancala system. So you've got these tiles in Mancala, and what you're trying to do is build Glasgow. So you'll be sharing this grid, which you like, and the tiles you'll be placing down will have an arrow on it, so it'll be pointing to the player they belong to. So like any tiling game, you'll maximise your points by depending on where your tiles are placed. But like the grid is small. And in this Mancala, you've been moving your piece along. The great thing is you can take as many actions as you want up to the point of when you pass your opponent. So I can go all the way around if I want, but I'm going to be careful because my opponent can take all of these actions. So I really like that. And this has been in a couple of games, but I really like how this game plays within maybe about 30 minutes, maybe. You can do it, and if you know the game really well, but I'd say about 45 minutes or so. And I like the fact that they've got these resources they'll be collecting that allow you to build buildings. They've got a couple of Arctic places you can go to in this Mancala. So what you'll be doing is you'll be getting buildings and then putting them into the grid. Now the clever thing is, it's almost like a race of how many can you get out there, but you need the resources to do it. And the resources are great because you've got this board of resources, and I haven't just used these really boring resource types. I've actually got some clever resources. You've got this whiskey pub, whiskey that you can use, this barrel, and then that's a wild resource. There's only one of them. I really like that. You've got your I think it's copper and gold and stone. So I really like that. These resources, and you can move them up to your grid, but they've actually got proper looking resources, so it gives a nice tactile feel. But I think they've done a great job with this tiling game, because I'm not a fan of tiling game. I have got another, it's more of a polynomial game, Project L project, but I really do enjoy this. I think they've done a great job, not to make it point salad because I really hate games like that. I think this has a bit more meaning to it, and the theme is kind of there. You're rolling tiles, so kind of build in Glasgow. But I do enjoy this tiling game because it's a lot more relaxing. So if you want more of a kind of relaxing tiling game, I definitely would recommend this, especially when a quick game it plays in well under an hour. I definitely recommend it. That's Glasgow. So let's move in to my number 8 then, and this is Plague Incorporated. Now there's an app about this game which I loved, and it brought out the board game. I did feel it's a bit of a money grab, to be honest, because the expansion they brought out, which I've got, I felt that those should have been included in the base game in any case, so it just feels I've just wasted more money. But anyway, is the game any good? Actually, I quite like it. Now, it's a little bit pandemic-y, the opposite, but different because you're not moving a piece around this map. Instead, you'll be using territory control. So you'll be placing these cubes on. It's got that, okay, which region do I want to go in? I'm going to go in this region. I need to then affect this country. Okay, they're going to give me those points. Great. You've also got event cards you've got to deal with as well. I like that. You've got your different virus boards, depending on what virus you begin with. You've got different types of abilities. They're not too different, but there are a couple of different strains and do slightly different things depending on which part of the game you're at. So whether it's at the start, mid, or end. So I really like that, and that you can build your virus up by the cards that you purchase, which then make the virus much stronger and more powerful, and I really like that. Which ones do I want to build up? But there's a little bit of luck because obviously you've only got so much choice on the cards. But I really do enjoy that. You can make your virus more powerful, and then you can start zooming in to a particular region to try and wipe it out and try and maximize your points. So like it's got a twisted concept on Pandemic where you haven't got that board of moving around. Instead, you've got the territory, the control, area control element. And I really like that. So it's a completely different feel to it. Instead, I'm trying to destroy humanity, if you like that kind of thing. It's tongue-in-cheek. It's quite light. I say light to medium. It's easy to understand, it's easy to get into. They've got a great how to play video. They've broken it all down. I think they've done a fantastic job with that in the app. And I think overall it's a pretty solid game. It's not amazing, but it's solid. So I quite like it. Check it out. It's Plague Incorporated. So let's move in to my number 7 then. And this is a deck building game, Terrors of London. Has a horror theme, and it is a horror deck building game. And the chaining and combos you do is different than other deck building. They sure you do usual chaining, but the way they've done it is slightly different. So instead, and this is probably what my negative is with this game, is that although the artwork is stunning, I think the theme is slightly there. I like some of the concepts with how you trigger some of the abilities. But the problem with this game is the chaining because you've got to remember the colour, the symbol as well. Not only that, there's an arrow in the bottom left of the card that must match. So when you're placing your cards into your deck, you're trying to remember what have I got because only this type of monster match with this type of monster. And I can't remember the colour it was, so which colour was that symbol that needs to match. I found that a little bit frustrating, so did others as we're playing this a few times. And I felt that they could have streamed that line much more and I would give them a much higher score. But having said that, I like some of the original concepts where some of the cards you're playing, you can actually place certain tokens on that'll keep that card out for the next round. I like the fact you've got different starting decks that you can choose from, and you've got this main character which gives you an ability that the other player hasn't got. So I like that. So you're trying to figure out, okay, which one do I want to start with? So I like that. I thought the box was amazing. It opens up like a book. It's magnetic. I thought that was great, like the Book of Dead from Evil Dead. I thought that was amazing. I just wish if they had streamlined the concept of how you chain, I think this would have been a much, much, much better game. I still think it's good. I've got rid of it since because of that chaining effect. And if you prefer a game where you haven't got a lot of chaining and combos, I think you'll enjoy this game. I really enjoyed it when I played it. And perhaps if there's sort of that chaining, I would probably give it a much higher score because I really liked everything else about this game. I really did. I just was let down by just that. But it's a game I enjoy. And somebody wanted to play it, sure, I'd play it. I have no problems because I really do enjoy it. So let's now move in to my next one. This is my number 6. Our card game. This is Stellar. Now, Stellar, you'll be building your telescope, looking out into the night sky. beautiful, stunning artwork. You've got a choice of cards that are there in a communal pool. So you'll be trying to get cards into your tabloid, if you like, which is your telescope, but you're trying to pair cards up as well. So what you're trying to do is get cards next to certain cards that are going to score you more points. Certain cards can only be placed next to other cards as well. So you're trying to figure out what cards you need, but also what your opponent needs as well, because you kind of think, okay, I'm going to take that card, so my opponent doesn't get it. So I like that it's quite straightforward in how it plays. There's a bit of thinkiness on what cards do I want, what cards, where do I place them. I really like that. It looks absolutely beautiful with the telescope and the night sky. It looks stunning. But I like the fact that they've kept it really straightforward. Really streamlined it. It's a 2-player only game, something to keep in mind. And it plays in about 45 minutes, I would say. So it's a nice, easy game to get into. Small box. I really like this as a 2-player game. And I think it works really well. So it's certainly one worth is checking out if you want a more relaxing, a bit like Sunset Over Water, except to me, this is a little bit less thinky and more about where do I place my cards rather than what cards do I take. So there's a little bit difference to that, and I think it's not as thinky personally, but they're both on the same level of complexity, which is quite light to medium, I would say. So second one is worth checking out. Let's move in to my number 5 then, and this is Agricola, the Family Edition. I played Agricola, the original. Which I did enjoy. I had two problems. One, the length of it was too long for me. The second thing was you get heavily punished, you don't feed your people. And I think the third one is a little bit meanness because people can take an oven that prevents you from getting the oven that you need, which really does hinder you. With the Family Edition, they've streamlined it. You don't have to build your fences and your pastures, so that's great. I like that. Has your worker placement spots like it does in the original. You unlock more worker placement spots like you do in the original, except the difference is you haven't got the random cards that are drawn at the start of each round, so you don't know what the worker placement spots will be later on, whereas in the film edition you can see what the worker placement spots are because they're static. Now you've also got the spot where you can get your ovens, except there's far less choice, and that's probably let down for me. So what I've also introduced is occupation cards, because you don't have this in the family edition, you've only got the original, but I bought the expansions and I put a list up on BoardGame Geek. It shows you which ones you purchased, and then introduced that into the family edition. And I think it works a lot bit better introducing those occupation cards, but I think it's fine as it is. And I think they've done a good job to keep it streamlined, but still give a bit of crunchiness, because to me, this feels light to medium weight, and it's good enough in the decisions. Where do I go, which animals I need? I can still breed, I can get my people, make babies, and then I can build my family up. I need to get food, how do I get food? It's much easier to get food in this than it is the original, so they've improved that, so it makes it more family friendly, less meany, but you still can stop your opponents going to certain spots if you take that spot. So I like that, and I like the stream taking a lot what I was saying, noise away from the game and made it much more accessible, and done a fantastic job. I prefer this, and the main reason is because it plays in quarter of the time than a Agricola original and still get a bit of crunchiness to it. And to me, that's great. Highly recommend this, Agricola the Family Edition. Let's move in to my number 4 then. And this is Castaways, a theme I like, a game I really enjoy, and a horrendous rulebook. If only the rulebook was better, I'd be giving it a far higher score, and there's no reason why I got a lower score. So you're on this island, you're cooperative, you're working together. That has a semi-co-op element to it, which is just stupid, because you've got these book tokens, and whoever has the most book tokens at the end is the ultimate winner. Well, it's just daft because you're all trying to escape, get off the island anyway. So it's co-op, and you're working together and trying to find out how you're going to get off the island. There's a few different ways the game can end depending on which one you have chosen or randomly selected. And you've got a fire, you're going to try and keep the fire alive. You've got food you're going to try and get, and you're going through this journey as well through this mountain and forest, but you don't know what you're uncovering, so you're flicking these cards over. You get to roll some dice as well to see how far you go and what happens with the outcomes. And I like that. Do I discover a tribe? Do I come across a really scary animal? Do I find some goodies that we need, essentials? I really like that. I love that concept of this adventure you're going on. But I also like the fact that you can use book tokens because they'll help you on that journey as well. And I like the fact that some food and tools, other items may come up from the shore, from the sea into the shore, which will help you. And I like that worker placement element, which action spot do we go to? Because we need this, we need that, and you're working together as a team to figure out the best way of escaping from the island. I like they've made it challenging but not too difficult. Now, the first time we played this, we managed to get through the game. It took us 4 hours because the rulebook is horrendous. I've since created a nice simplified rulebook that will help myself. And what's also good about this is the fact that the theme does come through strong. It really does feel like you're on an island, and I like that. I think they did a fantastic job. I would give this rating, this rating of 6.5 to a 7.5, maybe even an 8 if they just sort the rule book out because it's that bad. And perhaps when I play it more and more and get used to it and know the rules by the back of my hand, I will probably give this a much higher score because I really do enjoy it. I prefer it more than Robinson Crusoe. That's my personal opinion. A great game. It's out of print. You can't get it anymore, unfortunately, but as a game, if you can pick it up in the second-hand market, I highly recommend you do. So let's move in to my number 3 then. And this is Mintworks. Mintworks is a small tin game, and to me, this is the best of the series. It's a good, solid worker placement game. It plays in about 20 minutes. Simple, you've got these cards laid out, you're placing your mints, which are your workers, you're carrying out the action, really simple. You've got an upkeep phase as well where you get more income depending on cards that you've got in your neighbourhoods. You're building in this neighbourhood, you'll be collecting these blueprints to then build, which then is going to give you the points you need. Once you reach a certain amount of stars, then the game ends. But I like the fact that you've got cards that give you different bonuses, if you like, at the upkeep phase. So it might be more mint workers, for example. And you're trying to get this engine going, but you can't get a big engine. So you're trying to figure out, okay, I need to get the points. Do I go for the points early? Do I build up this bit of upkeep first? It's going to help me, and at the end I can get lots of cards and lots of buildings to build. So I like that, and I like that some of the cards change from game to game as well, the worker placement spots that come out. There's a couple of buildings as well that if you own the building, you'll get a bonus. So I like that, especially if that worker placement spot's used. So I like that. Has a solo mode, which I don't think is that great in honesty, but I think there's a nice solid game for such a small, tiny package. I think they've packed a lot in. I think they've done a great job. I definitely recommend this. I got my collection, I always have it. It's great for traveling. A small little tin game, Mintworks. So let's move in to my number 2 then, and this is Valhalla. Valhalla is a fantastic game, and what's great about this is that it's one of these games where it doesn't matter who you attack, you can be attacked back because you have to get, it's almost like a token from each different player. So you can't just keep going for the same player. That's what I love about this game, because some games where there's an uneven balance, and whether it's to do with area control or whether it's to do with this battle system, then sometimes when you got this back and forth, if there's maybe an uneven number, that can feel a little bit uneven because usually one player is attacked more than the others. And this, it doesn't matter because you've got to attack all players. And you've got to be careful because if you attack too much, then you're going to have less people to defend. Essentially, there's got a bit of deck building, so you'll be deck building your deck, deck building your deck. You'll collect more cards to build up your deck. And then you'll be using those cards, drawn cards, using them to build up your army to then either defend or attack. And you've got this dice, which I love. You roll the dice and you try and match the icons with the cards that you've got to then attack or defend. I love that. I think that's fantastic. And for me, for somebody who doesn't like luck, I just love this game. I just think it's great for what they've done. I think they've got a fantastic balance. The theme is kind of there. The artwork is amazing. I just like everything about this game. I've got nothing really to complain about this game. I just think it's fantastic. And it works. I think it works really well with 3 players. I think to me that works better because you've got to attack everyone. And I think it goes a lot quicker. You can play this easily within an hour with 3 players. A little bit longer before, but I like how it doesn't drag on too long. I like that there isn't too much downtime because turns are quite quick. And it's quite interesting watching the other players attack. You're like, oh, you've got that icon. They've lost those troops, Vikings. Okay, and they're going to attack them. So I like that. I like the fact in the combat you've got cards you can use after during combat. A little bit like Blood Rage, where you can play a card that will help you, etc. So I like that as well during the combat. It's not just based on the luck of the die rolls. Great game. Really do enjoy it. And the artwork is stunning. I think the whole package is great. I think they've done a fantastic job. Highly recommend it, Valhalla. So let's move in to my number one. I was pleasantly surprised by this game, Yukon Airways. A brilliant game. I was so surprised when I got this. This was a project from the designer, where I think it was a family member, his father, that owned this airline company, and it would travel from island to island, getting business people to their work, and essentially what you do in the game. I think the way they've done this is great. So you've got this terminal, and there are different spots and different actions you can take, but you're rolling dice, and depending on which dice you take, also matters. Not only do you get action, but also that the colour matters and where you're taking that passenger, and the number. I mean, it doesn't really matter at that point because you're taking your passengers to the space, wherever it is, to a particular place, which will give you points, essentially. What I love is this player board. That's the best thing by a mile in this game, because you've got these different upgrades you can do. Which upgrade do I do? There's so much choice. I can't do them all. Which ones do I do? Go for a Christmas bonus? Give me more money. Do I go for this? I need fuel. Oh, but I also need to do this. I need to upgrade this. And there's certain combos you can do as well, which some will complement others. I really like that. What dice do I take? Okay, I've got to take this passenger to this place, but I've got to make sure I've got enough fuel, because if I don't have enough fuel, I'll lose the passengers. But I can take the passenger anywhere, really. I won't get as much money, or money, essentially, which is your points. But also, if I plan it properly and wait, maybe I can take them to the place they want. Essentially, you're trying to get as far up to this map, which is all the islands. The further you go, the more money you get. But of course, you need more fuel. So you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I get my fuel up? Perhaps it's just contradicting in the bottom. I really like this concept of you rolling the dice to get placed out in the terminals. Which action do I take? What terminal suits me best? Because that's the one I want. I've always got these objective cards out as well, which will give you extra things. But I really like everything about this game. I think they've got a fantastic package. I think the artwork is nice. I think it's clean and clear in what you need to do, but it's really thinky as well. Because you'd be surprised, you think, okay, that's easy. I've got this die, this needs the passengers, I need to take them here, I need this X amount of fuel. That's really simple. It's actually trickier than you think. So I really like that. There's also cards in the game, and you play the cards in different ways. So I really like how this works. I really think it's great. So I think that the overall package is a really solid one. I think the gameplay is solid. I like how they've got a couple of different concepts and how they merge together, with your passengers, the dice, and then you've got the not worker placement. It's almost like action selection. You're choosing which terminal, which essentially you'll be using. And one of the terminals lets you move dice as well. So I need to move the dice to here because I need that action spot, but also want those passengers. So I really like that as well. And they've done a fantastic job. And the player board is the best thing, because it looks like you're in a cockpit. Absolutely amazing. So good, solid game. Highly recommend it. So that brings us to the end. I hope you've enjoyed this. And please do consider subscribing for more content like this, more top 10s, top 6s, better than videos, which looks at 10 board games as well. So if you like content like that, check out the playlist. Please do consider giving this video a like, and let me know in the comments down below, have you tried any of these games? Are there any of these games you want to try? I certainly highly recommend those in my top 1 and 2, because they are great games. I definitely recommend them. So please do consider subscribing to the channel if you're one of those who don't and skip all the videos. Until next time, my name is Jay Sears. Take care.
This is Bonkers.